Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get started with our webinar today. So those of you that I can see are off doing something else right at the moment on your computer, you're gonna have to come back because now we got to get started. So I see we have looks like we got about 10 people attending, which is good. That's interesting. And not only that, but we get to see all your names. And I see we have one gentleman by the name of Skip Coolman. Now, I'm thinking that's a fake name, but if it's not, I feel really bad for saying that, because if that's not a fake name, that is the coolest name I have seen all day. Skip Coolman, you are now my hero. All right, we're going to show you Streetwise CADlink today and everything that you ever want to know about it. So on your screen, you should be seeing two different small screens. One is the screen of the tablet that I have running Streetwise CADlink, and the other is the screen of a smartphone. And I'm going to be explaining both versions to you. My name is Phil Cowie, and I am the president and CEO of Streetwise CADlink. We're going to kind of explain. I'm not a code guy. I'm a fire guy. So I've got 35 years in the fire service, and 14 of those were spent as a career fire chief. And so that obviously sapped a certain amount of intelligence out of me right there. So I don't try to do coding or talk about the highly technical aspects of this. We have folks that do that. I'm going to talk about the functional aspect and what it'll accomplish for you. In short, let me explain what Streetwise is. If you think about technology, now obviously you remember 15 years ago, there was no technology in the fire service. 15, 20 years ago, you went on a call that they gave you over radio, and then you came back and you filled out a form that was on a clipboard with a piece of paper and a pen. And we don't do it that way anymore. So what you think about in the realm of technology in the fire service, everything that has to do with the exchange of information, we are basically between your CAD system and your records management system. So the CAD system obviously is what, when somebody calls 911, the dispatcher enters the information in. The CAD system makes advice on what units to send, what stations to send, et cetera, and then tracks the availability of all those units and your run cards and everything else. You dispatch the call. When the call is over, you fill out everything in your incident records management system. So you go to your incident report, and you fill in your NFIRS data or your emergency patient care report to record what occurred on that incident for all time's sake. We're basically in between those two, and we try to handle everything that you need from a technology standpoint between the time you're dispatched and the time you get back and start filling out your incident record system. So Streetwise, in short, is intended to fill the technology needs of everything during the call. So that starts with actually getting the call from your CAD system. So on the screen on the right, you can see that we get the call. We have a call on here right now.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
That was, hello, we still there? Okay, so on the right, you're seeing a call that actually came in to this MDT or this tablet. And on the left, you're seeing the same call as it arrived on a smartphone. So the CAD system provides the call information to us, and it can do that in a number of different ways. There's about 6 different ways that we can accept incoming call data from any CAD system. So there's a lot of different ways for us to do that. And we probably are the most flexible in terms of receiving data as there is out there. We could take it by way of an email, rip and run report, a print driver output, a direct web service API, a lot of technical ways to do it, including a polling app that could actually run on the local machine where the CAD system is to pull that data and send it over to us. So getting the data from a CAD system is usually not very difficult. We've not found any CAD systems that we can't interact with. Once we get the data from the CAD system, we display it then on the devices. On the MDT, which is usually running in the apparatus, it's going to pop up right away because that device is going to be running Streetwise typically 24 hours a day in the vehicle. On the one on the left, the responder version, that's something you would carry as an individual responder, maybe in your pocket or whatever, on your smartphone, and that'll get notified by a push notification sent from our system to that phone, which would notify the user, and when they tap on that push notification, it launches Streetwise. And that's how you end up with the call on both screens, as you see here. Let's talk about the user interface a little bit on the version that goes in the truck. At the top, we're dedicated to the status buttons. This is how you change your status from available to en route, in quarters, unavailable. We use a smart status button system so that we only have to have 4 buttons appearing up here at any given time. The button on the left always shows your current status as it is in our system. And then the next 3 most logical choices are what appear in the next 3 buttons. So when I change to a new status, for instance, if I go en route, it's going to prompt me to know how many people are on the truck, or I can disable that prompt if I want to use a default staffing number, say in a career department. But a volunteer paid on call would probably prompt for staffing, so we'll say 3. Now you can see we've changed en route, and our next 3 most logical choices have become on scene, staging, or canceled. You can get to the entire list of statuses by just hitting that button there, and you can see we have all the different statuses that are required for NFIRS, but we also have some additional statuses, things like par check conducted, first alarm assembly, primary search complete, secondary search complete, victim extricated. Those are not part of the NFIRS required timestamps for a unit, but they are very, very useful to know for an incident. Now, let's talk a little bit about statuses, because those are one of the things that we can push automatically into emergency reporting. So we have an interface for customers that are both emergency reporting customers and Streetwise customers. And if you are both, we can turn on an interface that allows a lot of this data to actually migrate directly into your NFIRS report without any effort from you whatsoever. So if you're using the interface, when we receive this call, we'll go ahead and create a call in your NFIRS data in emergency reporting automatically. So that call already appears in ER the minute that it's dispatched. Then as you begin using any of these statuses like on scene, staging, en route, available, in quarters, those statuses for that particular unit will feed automatically into your NFIRS report in the unit timestamp area. So back in your unit section, I think that's the 4th little basic page that you get to when you're doing your NFIRS report in ER. Then your times are already going to be filled in as long as your personnel are using these status buttons, and the times will be filled in down to the 10th of a second because that's basically how accurate our timestamps are. So again, you get back from the call, you've already got your times filled in, you've got your call filled in. In addition to that, however, some of these timestamps or these status buttons that are things like first water applied, par check conducted, there's no place in the NFIRS unit timestamps for those. So we go ahead and shove those into your NFIRS CAD narrative. So they are going to be in your NFIRS report in the narrative section. They'll have a little timestamp. They'll show who did that and what time it occurred. So just by using the buttons in Streetwise, you're already populating a tremendous amount of information over in your NFIRS report. The bottom of the screen, we depict the major features of Streetwise, and we're going to talk about some of those features right now. The user interface for the alerts, which is the alert screen, is what we're on right now. You've got a small index of calls. If you just drag your finger across that index, you can drop and recenter the screen on any specific call. For instance, we'll use this building collapse as the call we're going to demo with. You can also just swipe left or swipe right to move from call to call. So it's very easy to jump from one call to another just by using the user interface and kind of dragging your finger across. It's very easy user interface to get used to. When you are in the call and you're en route, so I'm going to put this unit here en route. I'm going to put this responder over here is going to respond to the scene. And I'll put another couple of calls, couple of units here en route to this building collapse as well, so that we have a number of different units that we can kind of use on this demo call as we're doing the demo. So when you have a call and you want to look and see what other units are involved in that call, you can simply hit the responder button, and any other units that are involved in this call will be shown in what we call the responder panel. And that's what you're looking at now, is the responder panel. So you can see that engine 16 is en route with staff of 3. Firefighter S Galaxy, which is this unit right here, is responding to the scene with staffing of 1. He's by himself. And I'm going to take another unit here and I'm going to put them en route, and I'm also going to put them into staging. So you can see when I added this other unit, which is engine 15, it went en route and now it's in staging. So you can see the status, the staffing, and the number of units that are active on those calls. And not only is it the apparatus, but anyone using the individual responder application on their smartphone will appear here as well. So this makes it possible for you, especially if you're volunteer or paid on call department, even if you're in the truck and on the way to the call, you can very quickly see how many other personnel, how many other volunteers are responding either to the station or to the scene, because you'll be able to depict here what their actual activity is. In fact, you can even indicate, for instance, that that you can't respond by saying, hey, I cannot respond to this call. And that's your way of being able to actually have that appear on the screen of the other responders, but show them that you are unable to make that call at that particular point. So that's the status button module that we have that shows the status of the other responders on that particular call. The tactical map gives you a mapping of the incident. And here, let me get through this. Yep, I want to see that call. So we can pull up and get the status of this particular call. We can get the map of the call. Here we've centered our map on the actual call location right here. And if I tap on this icon, it actually is interactive, so it'll remind me what the call is that I'm responding on. It's the building collapse at 121 Norman Station Boulevard in Mooresville. There's a number of different things that we can do to this map. When you're in the tactical maps, you have 3 different additional menus over here that allow you to adjust the way the map appears. I'll pull out that drawer and you can see that we have a standard view. We can change it into a satellite view, which basically gives us the overhead map photo, aerial photo of the incident location. You go into a terrain view if you're working off-road. Or you're back in a mountainous area, maybe doing a wildland brush fire or looking for a missing 2-year-old or something like that. You do have a terrain view as well. You can turn hydrants on and off. You can go directly into the street view if there is a Google Street View available, and that is, by the way, the actual building that this demo call is at. So we are right in front of that building. So you can go directly into the Google Street View, which is that 360-degree interactive photo view of the incident, so you can see the street view as well directly from there. You can also go into a night mode, for instance. So we have a lot of different ways that the map can appear, a lot of different settings that you can use on the map. You can turn different layers of points on and off and so forth. Other things that are appearing on this map, if I zoom out a little bit, I'll be able to show you some of the other things. You can see that we have the hydrants are indicated on the map. They are interactive as well. So if we tap on a hydrant, it'll bring up additional information about that hydrant. So for instance, here we have the size of the steamer connection. It is a 4.5-inch steamer, and the flow rate for this hydrant was 2,458 gallons per minute the last time it was flow tested. So again, we can populate those little pop-up labels with a lot of different information that the fire department or the water company may be able to provide to us about the hydrants. In addition to the hydrants, we can show overlays of points that are useful to the fire department. These are what we call sticky waypoints. These are points that you can place on the map. This is a fire department connection. This is a Knox box. We have points that you can display on the map for vacant buildings, trailheads, beach access, chemicals, all kinds of hazmat icons. So all kinds of different icons that you can use to place on the map. And that's your way of being able to customize the map. And anytime any one of your units places these on the map, they'll be visible by all the other units immediately. Because anything you do on one device map will synchronize automatically to all the other devices in your fleet. So placing these icons is very simple. You just come to this little map actions menu over here on the right, pull it out, and you can add, as you can see here, we can add a sticky waypoint onto the map. Let's say we wanted to put something over here indicating we had a trailhead. As soon as we tap on the map, it will give us the choice of icons, and this obviously allows you to see all the different icons that you have available to you to customize your map. So we'll put our little trailhead icon there. and now we have a trailhead depicted on the map. So again, this is a way to customize your map for a particular incident. All right, so let's show a couple of other things that you're able to do on the map. If we back up even more, you're going to see that we do overlay live traffic conditions on the map, so that even while you're responding to this, you'll know the traffic conditions in the immediate area. Green means traffic is flowing normal rate of speed. Orange is slowed down to 50 to 75%. Red, this color red, this sort of light red, is real slow. And then this dark red is bumper to bumper traffic, usually caused by an accident or some kind of backup on the road. This is accurate up to usually within about 3 or 4 minutes. We do get these from Google Traffic Services, and they do update that data about every 2 to 3 minutes. So as you're looking at the map, this information will update automatically to always display the most accurate traffic information. You'll also be able to see other units on the map, because you do have full AVL capability on this map. So I'm going to zoom over here a little bit, and I'll zoom in here, and here's a unit. So you can see we have Chief 4 depicted on the map, parked right here just off of Bluefield Road. Vehicles are depicted in icons that match the type of vehicle they are. So this is a small little SUV. If I move over to where our offices are located, we have a number of different devices running in the office. So I should be able to see some other units up here, and you can see some of the other icons we have. So here we have an engine icon, an ambulance icon, a little car icon. We have aircraft crash rescue vehicles, brush trucks, ambulances, boats, you name it, just about every kind of vehicle you'd have in the fire service. So these are going to update in real time every 5 seconds. So you'll always know the location of every other unit in your fleet. And if a responder unit, like one of these smartphone devices, is responding on the call, when they go active on a call, they will be depicted on the map as well. So not only will you have a list of all of the individual responders, volunteers paid on call, that are responding to your call, you'll also be able to see them on the map, so you'll know where they are at any given time, updated in real time. When they are done with the call and they remove themselves from the call, they will disappear off the map. So we don't track them unless they're actually involved in a call. The units are interactive as well, so if we tap on these units, we can get additional information about that particular truck, including the staffing that's currently on that truck. If the truck is in motion, we will get a speed on the truck, and not only that, but the vehicle will rotate in the direction of travel. So as opposed to just always pointing north, which they do when they're parked, when they're actually in motion, the icon will rotate to be pointing in the actual direction of travel of the vehicle, so that you have a very realistic depiction of the vehicle as it's moving down the roadway. Let's see if we have a couple of other things we can depict on the map. I'm going to show you the map actions drawer that allows us to simply relocate back to the alert, so we can recenter the map very quickly by hitting either locate me or locate alert. That'll recenter the map. You can look at the map in a track up or north up perspective. So again, another customized way that you can look at and use your map. You can add hydrants manually directly from the device. You can add waypoints from the device as well, as we already indicated. If you are active on a call, you can also place a different type of waypoint that's called a tactical waypoint, and that is for command and control purposes. So again, if you were active on this building fire, I'm going to actually go back to my alert screen, and I'm going to change myself to a different call. We'll go in route with 3, and then I'm going to mark on the scene of this building fire. So we'll go on scene. Now we'll go back to our tactical map, and because we're active on this call, we can actually begin to run command and control. So assuming I was the incident commander here, I could place a tactical waypoint to indicate where my incident command post was going to be. So I'm just going to touch the screen right here, And then you can see I get different icons. So again, the placement of these waypoints is done in a similar fashion to the others. The difference is that these are related to incident management. So they're primarily NIMS oriented icons. So we'll use the IC icon here, but you can see that we also have logistics, ops, PIO, planning, animal evacuation areas, people evacuation areas, helicopter landing zones, fire lines, ALS, BLS staging, rehab, triage, all those kinds of things that would be related to command and control. So if I place this on the map, instantly this IC point will appear on the map of any other units that are involved in this call. So I have instant synchronization of command and control points for this particular incident. If they're not on this incident, they're not going to see that point on their map. And by the way, when the call is over and you clear this incident, these will automatically remove from the map. So it's very easy for an incident commander to place rehab points, staging points, anything along that line that would help to organize and help with situational control of this particular incident, because all of the units that are involved in this would have this on their map, including anyone using the small responder version. So if I place it on this map and I come over to the responder version and I look at their map and I zoom in on the same incident, I would get the same tactical waypoints appearing on the map of this incident. So as I zoom in on this responder device, you can see that I do display my IC point and my triage point exactly as they were placed over here by the incident commander, and that happened instantly and within just a couple of seconds. So it's a very good way to keep situational awareness with all your resources. The other major feature of Streetwise is the pre-plan management. We've integrated pre-plan management with the response software so that you're able to access and use your pre-plans when you need them most, which is during the 4.5 to 6 minutes that you're in response to that call. So as we're responding to this building collapse, we can hit the button for our pre-plans and we get a complete list of our pre-plans, and they will sort by proximity to the call that we're responding to. So the closest pre-plans will be at the top of the list, working our way outward. The pre-plans are also depicted on the tactical map. So here you see a building that has a pre-plan for it because it has this little icon of a P with little roof over it. And so if I tap that icon, I'll actually launch right directly into that pre-plan. So there are two different ways, very simple ways to get to a pre-plan, either through the map or through the pre-plan list view. The list view can also be resorted by name or by address, or you can filter the list view by typing anything specific into this filter, and it'll drop it down and only show the things that match that filter. At any time you choose that you want to open a pre-plan, you can sort through your entire list of pre-plans here, pick a particular pre-plan, and just like in ER, when you're looking at a list view in emergency reporting, you tap on the item to open it in a detailed view. Same thing is true with our software. So you're just going to tap on Bettler Brewery to open that particular pre-plan, a detailed view. There are buttons across the top that allow you to get to the major sections of the pre-plan. This data is all stored in your specific database for your account. Each account has its own database to store its own pre-plan data. It is a database, so this stuff is all filtered into fields. It can be exported, it can be searched, it can be analyzed, very similar to what you would do with a records management system. That's not the primary intent of it, but you do have that data so that it can be worked with and exported and used in other ways. So you have the buttons that allow you to move to different sections of that pre-planned data. And again, the data fields we've chosen are in compliance with NFPA 1620. So our pre-plans are totally compliant with the National Fire Protection Association's recommendations for the contents of a fire incident pre-plan. Every data point they recommend is in here. So you can get to them very easily just by moving through the data. and getting to any particular button. In addition to that, each pre-plan has its own pre-plan attachment library. So within this pre-plan, if we go to the attachments button, we'll see every document, image, or other item that has been placed into the attachment library. So if we want to look at any of those items, we can simply tap on that item and it'll open a view on the screen for us to see the photo or the particular attachment details for that type of attachment. So I'll open the attachment for the brewing tanks, and you can see that we have an actual photo of the layout of the brewing tanks in that particular brewery. So we have an idea of what the brewing area looks like prior to even arriving. And of course, we even have exterior views of the building that they've placed into the pre-plan attachment library right there by itself. So that's the pre-plan. Getting pre-plans in is very easy as well, because we do have a pre-plan manager that allows us to create pre-plans using this device. And it's a very, very simplified method where you just go in and tell it that you're basically wanting to create a new pre-plan. It gives you a choice of the type of pre-plan you want to conduct, and then it'll enter into a simple survey instrument that allows you to work your way one question at a time through the pre-plan. It automatically captures the latitude and longitude of the building, so you've already got that. That's entered into the data automatically, and then you can use the buttons on the right to move your way forward or backward through the survey, or to jump to any specific survey question, or to add a photo to the attachment library as you're doing the survey. So basically the way this works is our clients remove the tablet from the apparatus. They go into the building where they're going to conduct the pre-plan. They meet with the business owner and they begin walking through the pre-plan while asking these questions. So it's very simple. Here we have the first question, street address number. We'll put in 123, for instance. I'm just going to put something quick in. And by the way, the asterisk indicates that it's a mandatory question, so it can't be skipped. And then you just hit next, and now it's going to want the name of the street. So we'll just put in Main Street. How about that? Whoops, can't type. And then we hit next, and it's going to work our way through the questions. Now, the cool thing about the wizard, the pre-plan wizard, is that it is a little bit like TurboTax, meaning that the questions will expand or contract based on how you're answering questions. So for an example, here we're going to indicate this is an assembly business occupancy, and then I'm going to move forward to a specific question. I want to kind of show you an example of how this works. Here's a question that says, does the occupancy have a fire department access key vault? I'm going to hit no, and then hit the next question. And the next question is, are there any exposures that could be affected by a fire in the structure? But I'm going to back up and I'm going to change my answer about the docs box to yes. And now when I hit the next question, the question has changed and it now says describe the location of the fire department access key vault. So that's just a very quick example of how this survey will respond. It's basically a responsive survey, so it will respond by adjusting itself and adjusting the number of questions and the content of the questions based on how the user is actually answering the questions. So you might do one pre-plan for a McDonald's. You might get 35 or 40 questions you have to fill in. You may go across the street to a factory and you may get 65 questions because it's a much more complex business with more fire protection, built-in fire protection features. So you have more questions you need to answer. So the survey will automatically adjust based on the type of business. But when you're completely finished with the survey, then you simply submit it to the server, and our server does a last validation check to make sure everything was correctly entered and that all mandatory questions have been filled in. If it hasn't, then it'll direct you on how to make corrections. But if it has, it's going to submit that data to Streetwise server. It will be logged into the database, and a view version of that pre-plan will be added to the pre-plan list of every device in your entire department. So from completion of a pre-plan, to the time that that pre-plan is visible on every device in your entire fleet is usually just a matter of minutes. Not only that, but you can share pre-plans between departments. So if you have multiple departments that are using Streetwise in a regional area, you can share your pre-plans with those other departments. They won't be able to edit or delete your pre-plans, but they will be able to view them. And the same thing is true with your hydrants. The same thing is true with your vehicle locations, so that not only can you see your own units, but you'll be able to see every unit in the region on your map at all times. You'll know where every emergency vehicle in your region is located at any given time. And you can also share your waypoints. So any waypoints you do to customize your map for your area will be visible to other departments when they come into your area on a mutual or automatic aid response. So those things can be shared, including the pre-planned data. There's other features here that allow you to send device messages from one device to another. There's some other unique features like photo share that allows you to share a photo from an incident with any other units that are active on that incident. And again, all of this is being recorded in our database, so the information can be retrieved later. And if it's appropriate, we push that data automatically into your emergency reporting NFIRS report. And in the future, we'll be having even more integration with emergency reporting as well, allowing different portions of our data to communicate back and forth with different portions of their data in their database. So the intention, of course, is to continue expanding the number of features that are in common with both Streetwise and emergency reporting, so that those two products complement each other as much as possible. Now, we talked about the responder version a little bit, and I'll just quickly show you that the features on the responder version are quite similar to the full version. However, it is trimmed down. It does not have pre-planned capability, and you can't run incident command from this device. It's more designed for individuals. You can see the status buttons are oriented to a specific individual and not to an apparatus. So it is a different version, but the user interfaces are very, very similar, so that if you know how to use one, then using the other one is quite simple. It's not like having to use two completely different products. You can get navigation. You can get turn-by-turn directions. I didn't take the time to demo that, but rest assured you can get navigation or turn-by-turn directions from the device as well. So just about all the information you need during the call is available to you on this device. There is also a third component of our system that is a station smartboard. This is going to run on a television screen in your fire station. You can use any standard high definition television that you get from Walmart or Amazon or wherever you want to buy it, because the way it runs is we have a small adapter stick that plugs into the back of the TV and the HDMI input. You hook that up to either your Ethernet hardwired internet connection or to your Wi-Fi connection, because it is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled. And then once you have it hooked up, it'll automatically go into the Streetwise smartboard mode for that particular fire station. Each subscription is customized to a particular fire station. It's what we call a multi-mode visual alerting system for your fire station. So in addition to your audible alert that you get when your station gets a call, whether that be by a radio tone or some kind of bell or buzzer or disembodied computerized voice that reads the call, this is in addition to that as a visual depiction that you're having a call. It has two modes. One is the idle mode, one is the alert mode. This is the idle mode that you're seeing here. And in the idle mode, we get a list of the last 5 calls that we've had. We get a calendar of events for that station for the day, and we get a small weather widget that shows the weather conditions for that station. Across the bottom, if we had any administrative messages, they would be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Right now, we don't have any of those programmed, but if we did, they'd be scrolling across the bottom of the screen like a marquee that you see on the CNN or some of the other news stations. And then, of course, on the right, you get a map that shows the location, the current AVL of all of your units, and that updates automatically every 5 seconds. And if your units are in motion, it auto zooms to show the entire fleet of devices in your department or in your entire region if you want to set it for a region view. It'll also depict real-time traffic, and it'll depict weather radar as weather conditions are moving across your map. When that station receives a call, it then goes into alert mode. This is the alert mode, and it happens automatically when a call is received for that station. So a lot of times the smart board will actually go into alert mode even before the radio has activated. You get the information about the call showing on the right. All the information received from the CAD system is going to be displayed, not on the right, on the left. So you get all the information that the CAD system sent displayed there for the call. We start an automatic turnout time countdown clock that you can set for whatever your target turnout time is. Below that, you have a list of any units that are responding to that particular call. On the right, on the far right, you have a map showing navigation from your particular fire station to that call. So again, this is going to customized for your fire station. So it'll show the route and a navigation route to the call, along with the location of any other units that are active on the call. And in the middle, you get a what we call a sub map. It's a zoomed in version of the map showing a close-up of the location of the call, so that you can see your hydrant locations in relation to that business where the call is occurring, or that residence where the call is occurring. So you can use this to simply glance up here, get the information about the call, know the area of the call, know the navigation to the call, and familiarize yourself with the hydrants in the immediate vicinity of that call before you're ever even climbed on the truck. So a lot of information that you can retrieve. And then after the unit times out, you can set it for your own time preference, whether that be 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. After it's timed out, it automatically reverts back into the idle mode and waits for the next call. Now again, you can retrieve all of the data that's created by Streetwise directly in the Streetwise database. Or if we're having the interface with emergency reporting, obviously a lot of that critical data moves directly into your NFIRS report and starts filling out as much of that as we possibly can. So again, in addition to the call being created with the location, the call type, we also fill out the unit statuses, the unit times for all your units that went on the call, and if your incident commander used any command and control waypoints, those types of things. Those will be logged in the narrative section of the incident report as well. I'm going to see if we want to stop and kind of find out if we have any questions. I think it's possible for you to write in questions. So if you do submit a question, I'll see it here and I can answer it pretty quickly. Let me also just ask if Greg, is there anything that we didn't cover successfully that you think we should have covered?
Thanks, Phil, and I don't think so. Great job, and looking forward to questions.
I know we went kind of fast. Usually when we do a full demo of the software, it takes about an hour and 15 minutes. I was trying to not occupy everybody's time for too long today, so I tried to shorten it up a little bit. But obviously, you can get a full demo by requesting it either directly to us or through your ER rep, either one, and we'll make sure that somebody gives you a full demo of every feature so that you're not missing anything. And then again, let's just see if anybody had any other questions before we close it out.
I'm not seeing anything coming through chat yet.
Well, that may mean that the demo was just so completely thorough that it was flawless. Nobody has any follow-up questions. All right, I think we've covered it, Greg.
Thanks. So
I appreciate everybody's time today and anybody who sat through the demo. Again, if you want any additional information, either contact us directly at Streetwise or contact your ER sales rep for your local region, and we will make sure your questions get answered if you have any.
thank you, Phil. Great job.
All right, y'all have a great day.